coffee?
No, I'm gonna head over to my friend's house.
Which way you headed?
Downtown Seoul. She's a sculptress. Now she's trying to sell them as paperweights. Wanna buy one?
Yeah.
What'd you do to her?
I didn't do anything to her. She was asleep.
You gotta help me. There's an angry mob out there.
They're all trying to kill me. I mean, I just wanted to leave. Maybe meet a nice girl. Marcy.
What is wrong with you? Are you all right?
Tonight I feel like I'm gonna let loose or something. I feel like something incredible is really gonna happen here.
My name is Paul Hackett. I'm in Soho. I don't know the exact location. Now, I have every reason in the world to believe my life is in serious danger. I'll probably get blamed for that.
You're dead, pal.
What's the matter?
Nobody gets us licked. Different rules apply.
What do you want from me?
When you love someone, you've got to trust them. There's no other way. You've got to give them the key to everything that's yours. Otherwise, what's the point? For a while, I believed that's the kind of love I had.
A cop up in Boston really is a mole for Jack Nicholson. Welcome to the age of innocence. Is Daniel they gonna fit in? On these mean streets with Bobby D and Harvey Keitel. Ask Joe Pesci if he has fucked my wife. Head to Shutter Island. It's as quiet as silence. 6 a.m. and the chopper circle overhead. Have Karen flush the coke down the toilet when taxi driver asks you talking to me. And gimme shelter is on. And gimme shelter is on. And gimme shelter was on. As soon as the film starts, the voiceover's gone. The tracking shots start to play. Is Leo in this? Yeah. Is De Niro in this? Yeah. And whether or not Paul Schrader's involved, Thelma's in the editing bay. Yay! It's a Marty Scorsese. Yay! It's a Marty Scorsese. Toronto, Cannes, Berlin, and Sundance, everybody chat about good movies, chat about good movies, chat about good movies, good movies, good movies. Hello, 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 and welcome to the Good Movie Chat About, where we... Hang on a second, I'm not going to make this mistake again. I'm not going to let it autoplay to something else. Okay. Hello, 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 and welcome everybody to the Good Movie Chat About, where we have good chats about good movies with good guests. I am Lord Gugu, also known as Bobby. Either one is fine. It's all good. And we're here to chat about some good movies. If this is your first time watching the stream, as I expect, I see a lot of first-time chats already. Thank you for the raid, Slow Puke. We're going to introduce here in a second, as soon as she's back at her desk. But, sorry, that went faster maybe than I thought. She's listening to me right now. But if this is your first time, welcome. Please follow if you like what you see, and also feel free to subscribe as well. Oh, it's not my I keep forgetting to take away the "it's my birthday" message. Hey, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's not my birthday. I'm finally just removing that. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for the follows, and, enough of that. Enough of all that. Oh, yeah, if you do subscribe, I have really good emotes, including the Wally and Andre, My Dinner with Andre emotes, which I'm really proud of. Okay, so enough about that. Today, I am joined by one of the funniest people on Dan Clancy's internet. That's right. It is the truly deranged and hilarious Slowpuke. Oh, wait, no, wrong one. Hang on. Slowpuke. Welcome. Wait, I can't hear you. That's not good. That's probably a Discord issue. Okay, 1 second. I'm... Voice and video settings, Discord, every time. Every time. I knew it right away.
I was playing it through my headset. I always do that.
It's all good. It's all good. Welcome to the show. Caitlin, Slowpuke, does it matter? Do you care?
Yeah, don't really care either, but I think most people just say Slowpuke or Puke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean...
Puke in an endearing way, of course.
I'm also somebody that decided to have a very stupid username that I'm stuck with now just for branding purposes.
Is it directly the Tim Heidecker
It actually...
Lady Gaga Lord Goo Goo joke?
So... Funny thing, no, it's not. I actually had the name a full year before that Tim Heidecker special, and it literally was, I was just really high one day, and I was like, oh, wait, you know, the opposite of Lady Gaga, that's like Lord Goo Goo, and I thought it was like, really funny. And I was like, also just like kind of in the market for a dumb Twitch name, like I just like, that's good enough. And then all of a sudden I'm just...
It's good.
It is, except I have to explain every time. I'm like, I'm not just... Because I will say, like, in college, one of my instant messenger screen names was Targus. Like, I'm not above just, like, taking a Tim and Eric thing and making it my username.
Absolutely.
But
like, I'm sure if I rack my brain, I can think of a stream example where I've just been, like, having to tell people, this is a joke from Tim and Eric, and I didn't make this up.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I'll just start saying something, and yeah, just completely out of nowhere. But welcome in, Slowpuke.
Thank you.
I was watching some of your stream as I was getting ready, and creating that amazing parody song that everybody loved so much, and so I saw that you were talking about sodas. But do you still have a concession with you? Because we have concessions when we watch movies. Do you have a concession? This is just water, I should say. But
I just got a bubbly. I had a big soda earlier, just to kind of have some caffeine because
you know what? I'm actually
for 5 hours technically. So
I'm gonna send a request to my living room. It'll be a little delayed, but my wife that's watching, and I should actually say, speaking of my wife, Slowpuke, I hope you feel really honored. You are the first woman guest on my stream that I'm not married to, so that's something, because I did have my wife on early on the show,
like to do a movie chat.
Yeah, we did. We chatted about old screwball comedies. But Abby, if you do just want to grab me a Coca-Cola Zero from the fridge and bring it into me,
Abby, that'd be really nice.
That'd be really wonderful. Everybody give a shout out to Travels. We love Travels. Another glass ceiling shattered. That's right, Cosmo Cat. Oh, wait, she did even better. Man, she brought...
The only thing
no,
I
this
don't
is
make
great.
Requests, but I will occasionally, and I mean, you were in chat for a little while. Oh, wait, which one's that? That's the orange cream. Is that...
Zero.
Like, okay, so if it's zero, it might be better. If that was a diet Coke and, like, orange flavor, I would be, like, kind of iffy. Coke Zero is better. Is that any good?
Well, so here's the thing, actually, and this is... I've been talking about this a lot on my show just because it comes up in this concession part, but I have given up sugary sodas. I'm like a month off of them now. And at first I was like, I'm going to allow myself to have, like, one on the weekends and stuff. But then, like, I haven't even done that. I've been unsweetened iced tea, and I'm also, like, I can't do Diet Coke at all. Like, the aftertaste, like, the aspartame and stuff. But the Zero is okay. And with the orange cream, it's, like, so sweet that it really balances. It's, like, almost better. Not better, but it's, like, good to have it be, like...
Is it, because it's, like, orange cream, it's probably not, like, a Crush Orange or, like, a Fanta, right?
So the
like,
orange cream Coke, when it was a few years ago out as Orange Vanilla Coke, and now it's the same thing, orange cream Coke... That is my jam. That is the best soda, I think.
So it's like a creamsicle kind of thing.
Yes, very much.
Yeah.
and it's really good. Yeah, so it's just got the orangey and the. I mean, I used to make them at the movie theater at the Coke Freestyle, and now like you can't somehow even so you can get these at the store, but you can't make an orange vanilla Coke at the Freestyle. Make it make sense.
That's probably too much for the That's probably too much for the freestyle machine. That's probably too much of a request. Maybe it was getting overloaded.
I don't know. The Freestyle's fallen off. It's kind of.
I gotta put orange and vanilla.
Yeah, it starts it starts going haywire. Sparks start flying off of it, and yeah, that's you don't want that.
Ingredients. Like if that was like a Papa's Pizzeria or like something Coke Freestyle machine, it would lose its mind. Yeah, Coke Freestyles are like not that good. I do like that you can get AHA because like I do have an emote of AHA sparkling water.
Yeah.
Like I'm in a similar position where like I also was like I need to stop drinking soda because I can just drink soda all day.
Yeah,
so
and the liquid sugar is just the worst. Like it actually is the worst for you.
Yeah, like it's so bad for you. And I'm also like, and I still drink like sugary sodas still, but I also like I love drinking coffee. Like even just like teeth health. Like I drink so much coffee. Horrible for your teeth, just like staining. I love iced coffee, and I love all the sweet ones that they make some places. Like I already have enough liquid sugar, and AHA is the best sparkling water, I think.
Okay. I was really into Spindrift for a while.
We don't have that up in Canada.
That's right, you guys
but
don't.
It is good.
Although it technically isn't 0 calorie, but it's almost better. It feels more real that it's 5 or 10 calories, and there's just like the little drop of fruit juice in it.
It's really hard.
It
to
is
get
pricey.
Those like 0. I don't know what I'd call them, but like there's I think what's that one? It's like Zevia or something. Do you guys have that?
I don't know.
We have it here, and it's like just a healthy soda option, and those are bad usually.
Yeah.
I
mean,
like I'd rather get really sweet sparkling water.
The only like other diet beverage that I've ever fucked with really besides this is really Fresca. I think Fresca is pretty good generally.
Yeah, no, Fresca had a moment. Fresca had like a big moment. I remember in high school, which for me would have been the years of 2013 to 2017. Took a second.
Okay, we gotta. It is Zevia. Gebo agrees that it sucks. So Zevia seems to be right. Zevia. Okay.
Yeah, must be Canadian. Yeah.
All right. Okay, I love the Bev talk, but we should talk movies eventually. Slowpeak, I found
they
you.
Go hand in hand. They go hand in hand.
They really do. You need a Bev. You need a snack.
I had a beer watching this. I had a couple.
That's a
ribbons.
Good beer movie.
Got into the mood of it.
I should say that we're not going to talk about the movie yet, but I watched the movie. So I saw the movie at least 4 or 5 times before this week, and then I watched it 3 times this week. I watched it once, just like, don't take any notes, just kind of like enjoy the movie again, just like watch it. And then I watched it, I took a ton of notes, and then I had to put on the commentary on the Criterion. And it's so easy because the movie's short. And I've actually even listened to the commentary again, but it was just great. I mean, before, but it was great to listen to it again. But I did follow you on Letterboxd this week, and you write some really great Letterboxd reviews.
Thank you.
Because actually, you reviewed a movie. So now the next question I ask is, what is the last movie that you watched besides After Hours?
Before this, the last movie that I watched before After Hours was I watched on Tuesday Godzilla vs. Gigan. Me and one of my really good buddies. We've been working on the Criterion kind of box collection. I don't know if you'd say
the
box
Showa era,
like a book. Yeah, it's the Showa
with the pink
era
and yellow cover. Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm such a Criterion head. I don't have that box set yet, but every time there's the 50% off, it's in my cart for a few minutes. And
that's when he picked it up. Yeah, he just grabbed it and he was like, I'm gonna do it. And so then we were just like, okay, we're gonna work on Godzilla is like one of those things that it's always been, especially the older Godzilla's always been a series that I know I like. Well, I like know that I will just like that sort of thing, and I've liked a lot of just like the more modern like Western Godzilla movies, and even some of the newer like Godzilla -1,
of course,
loved. And it was kind of after we watched Godzilla -1 together that we were like, okay, we're gonna go through all these movies, and I just love that they are so hit and miss. Like they really are just so up and down, the consistency of how good they are.
And sometimes they're just incredible. Anything with Mothra is
yes.
like always great. If there's like a Mothra one, that one goes on first for me.
Love Mothra. Godzilla vs. Hedorah was incredible. That was like probably one of my favorite ones. And there was one that I'm trying to think of. Which one was it that I was like, I knew it was kind of shit, but I had such a good time. Son of Godzilla.
Okay.
I really like.
Wait, is that the one with Manila, with Minnie Illa?
Yes.
And he looks so fucked up. Manila.
His little putrid little homunculus.
He looks so fucked up.
Squalid boy. And he's just getting kicked around. Like there's so many scenes.
He's just useless. Yeah.
In the fucking face, and he's like crying, and he's just falling over. And Godzilla hates him and thinks he sucks. But I loved it so much.
Have you watched
also Mothra is in that one too.
Yeah. Have you watched the Heisei era from like the 80s and 90s? Because that's what they've added to Criterion relatively recently, and those are really cool because they are like now they're really influenced by like sort of the Western, like Spielberg kind of that sort of filmmaking, but then like bringing it back to Godzilla, and Godzilla versus Biollante is incredible, and they also did a Mothra one in that run. That's amazing as well.
Yeah, like I for sure want to get around to like those afterwards. We're trying to go through as chronologically
that makes
as we
sense.
can, but I have missed a lot of the I don't know if I'd say spin-offs, but just like just other kaiju movies. Like I remember there was one review I left for. I'm literally gonna scroll and try and find it because there was like a kaiju that showed up, and I was like, who the fuck? In my review I was like, who the fuck was that guy? It was like some bird that showed up, and then somebody commented and was like, what? You didn't see Frankenstein versus Zaragon or whatever it's called? I don't remember the name of the kaiju. And I was like...
I have another friend that really likes kaiju movies and was watching Frankenstein versus Godzilla this week. And that's one that I've also... I think I started it and then started falling asleep. It did my famous started watching it too late move. But I do want... I've heard that the... Godzilla universe version of Frankenstein is really cool because it's like just a guy that nuclear radiation made enormous, but it is like Frankenstein's monster that has been reanimated,
and it's just like Frankenstein,
but
he's
enormous.
I mean,
as
soon as that person commented and was like, what, you haven't seen the Frankenstein movie? I was like, no, but thanks for letting me know there's Frankenstein kaiju movies, because that is absurd.
That is great. I also saw on your letterbox you were so I assume that you're a Criterion subscriber, Criterion channel. Is that correct?
Yes.
And the reason
I don't use it really, frankly, that much, but I do have it. Yes.
Yeah. The reason I say that is because I saw on your letterbox you reviewed one of their queer-sided movies. That I watched it as well. Tea and Sympathy, and I quite enjoyed it.
I realized first, like, Vincent Minnelli directed movie I've ever seen, and I was like, huh.
It might be, no, I've probably seen a musical that he directed that I'm just forgetting. But yeah, it definitely is interesting that, a gay man directed it, and it's like all this very much about, being a young gay guy, but like they can't say it because Hays Code, they like had to.
It's so coded out.
Yeah.
Like, even
and at the end he ends up with
that is way more
right
crazy.
In the end he ends up, they make sure to tell you, no, he's with a woman now, he's straight, he's totally straight, guys, don't worry, or whatever.
Yeah, the whole letter where she's like, oh, I always love you, and
I love Deborah Carr, like, in everything. She's always great.
Oh yeah,
but like,
she's brilliant.
Yeah, I didn't care for the letter ending and stuff, just like, which is like, but all the stuff that they're able to get in there. And my favorite thing was, and this is all, the Queer Sighted is like every June. Criterion, for people that don't know, Criterion does like a curated, they'll work with some usually queer filmmaker or his film historian or something, and they will curate like around a theme. And this year it's a coming of age theme, and the curator is Jane Schoenbrunn of I Saw the TV Glow, and it's really cool. And her interview with it is really awesome. Like where she talks about all the movies in her selection. It includes Addams Family Values, which is also great.
Fire.
Yes.
Also, like those Addams, those like 90s Addams Family movies.
Those two, I mean,
adore.
Raul Julia
stunning to look
should
at
have
also,
lived.
just, like,
if Raul Julia had lived and we had gotten a couple of more of those, like that lineup.
Like like you know, also like awkwardly to say, but like extremely just like sexy movies.
Yeah.
Like those. He is so like charming.
Well, yeah, there's like it was it's so funny cuz when they came out, I'm thinking of like it's in the context of Married with Children was happening, you know, and like the running joke of Married with Children was always like Peg Bundy, who is a smoke show, like insanely hot and stacked and stuff, wants to have sex with Al Bundy, and he's like, I don't care or whatever. He's like lazy.
It's also like just every
right. And my wife is a nag or whatever. I don't really care for her. Yeah. And in Addams Family, it's like totally like they're always down to DTF at all times. The two of those guys.
And it's like especially those movies where like they are just like Gomez and Morticia, or like every scene that they have together, you're just like they're gonna bang after this, like, every single one, and just like it gets sweaty when they are on screen.
Yeah.
I watched those a lot at my old job because like those were like two of the they had it was like I used to work at this store that had a very kind of kitschy like 80s basement aesthetic, which these aren't 80s, but they would play movies the whole time. And those were two of the movies they had saved to like play on the monitors behind the counter. And I would just like they're the only two I could bear out of the other ones I had saved.
I mean, they're pretty early 90s, and the way that you can like date both Addams Family movies is that the first one had a song from MC Hammer on it, and the second one had a song from Two Live Crew, who you don't even remember them. They're too legit to quit.
Well, yeah.
And so they're like, or no, they're Whoop, There It Is. Never mind. Whoop, there it is.
Yeah, yes to both.
Yes, because at the end credits are, they made a variation, and get this is the variation, if you're ready. Whoop, Addams Family, there it is. That's real.
That works. That works and doesn't feel like it was just awkwardly
That's perfect.
All lyrics-wise.
It's perfect. All I'll say is Joan Cusack is just a revelation in Addams Family Values.
Oh my god,
she's like so hot, and also just like so God, she's so funny in that. Every like line, every scene. But the tragedy of the movie, because I rewatched that a week ago. That was the first one I watched in the Queer Sighted set. And the tragedy of it, I feel, is that Debbie, her character, like really, if she could just open herself to the Addams and like tell, like they would accept her completely as a homicidal maniac. They would be down and they would support her. Like she just wants to kill them. Like, but if she could just like see, she's actually like she's crushed it. She's landed in a family that will get her better than anyone. But you know, she's just that's her hubris or something.
You know, and they might accept her for being, you know, a killer, but I think still at the end of the day they're gonna be like, what you did to Fester was so wrong.
Yeah, and also we can't trust you because you're blonde. They can't.
Exactly.
That's the biggest
costume
thing.
design wise, also just like specifically for her, like that whole movie is just like.
Yeah.
I just love every design aspect of those like those 90s Addams Family movies.
And it's just nobody directs like a comedy as good as that, as tight as that. Like it's literally laugh a minute.
Snappy.
Like I was laughing out loud like once a minute. Like, and it's all just the rhythm of it and how quick it moves and everything, and like the tone and just like how much they get the central joke of what they're doing
and even just
approach.
Memorable too, because I have like just such a hard time remembering things that are not just like super recent to me that. Or I have written down, and I watched this like maybe the most recent would have been like 3 or 4 years ago, and I'm just like I can picture it in my head currently. I mean, I watched them a ton as a kid too.
Yeah, same. I mean, those were ones that I would always rent. Hey, thanks for the follower. I don't know if you see the follow alert is the
I do.
Is the shark.
It's the shark biting his cock.
Yes.
Not his cock, but a big
the
cock.
graffiti.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for the follow, Yalan. But I will say the last thing I'll say about Tea and Sympathy is there you go. Thanks for the follow. So you can see it again. I loved the one change that they had to make to the script where they couldn't say sissy. They couldn't call him a sissy, so they called him a sister boy. Sister boy.
But you know, like when
it's so much gayer. That's the thing. Is it's
so
like
much, yeah.
Sister boy.
It's like.
And they say it like multiple times.
Harsh. Oh my god, they say it so much. It's like every single time they refer to him, they they love hearing it. I loved just like that absolute stupid ass, just like I might have mentioned this writing about it, just the dumb depiction of like the varsity boys.
Yeah,
just
of like he's not normal because he's not behaving like just like assaulting the waitress at the diner or whatever.
And
like
just like the most common denominator, like
they're just like two brain cells.
Have a bonfire and rip each other's pajamas off. It's like the most comically just
or like peek through the window like at the girls changing across the way or whatever. Like that classic thing.
What I love about, even though it's like very kind of limited due to the the code and not being able to really explore like any of the sexual themes, it's like just so like still countercultural how badly it depicted like masculinity and how like it showed that like hyper masculinity could make these guys into just like walking lard, just like they have nothing going on.
And just what a stupid thing it is to just value in and of itself. Like if dudes are gonna be bros and be hyper masculine, whatever, go off. But like the insistence that like this guy that's good at sewing and he's really good at tennis too. Like that's the thing. He's a good athlete.
Oh, he rocks at tennis, yeah.
But it doesn't matter because he wants to be in drag in the school like play or whatever and like sew the costumes. That's all they need to know.
And also it's just like all of these things that he learns. It's like all of his skills, like with the sewing. It's not something that he's like gone out of his way to learn. It's always something that it's like kind of been bestowed upon him. Like he wanted to be in the play. They had a perfect role. Just so happens it's for a girl, and he went, okay. And then, like, sewing, he learned it from somebody else. Cooking, he learned it from somebody. So it's like...
Well, it was from his maid, and then his dad at the one point is like, I got rid of her because she was showing my son how to sew things. Bad influence.
McCadden?
Oh, Pacino, right?
Yes, Pacino.
A movie named Cat. I mean, or an actor named Cat. Do you like Pacino films?
I do, yes.
What's your fave Pacino?
This might be just a very easy pick. Probably Dog Day Afternoon. It's definitely probably my just favorite Pacino role. I mean, it's definitely just like I think Pacino, like, just like I'm calling him Pacino, which is so weird because that's just my cat's name and I'm just thinking about my cat. Because he's also right there. But it's just like I mean, maybe I haven't like delved enough into like more of the early 70s stuff he did. Like maybe I'm
I haven't either, like Panic in Needle Park and stuff,
Yeah. But like I mean he has that sort of like, especially how he then continuously got typecast as he got older. Not typecast, but his hit as he got older. Was he has a Tom Cruise thing about him where he is small, but he can make himself seem very large.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Well,
just on screen. And in Dog Day Afternoon, he's a very small man.
But then he gets to still have the big moments. He gets to still be like, Attica, like that type of stuff. But you're right, fundamentally a really meek man who's like doing this very like dangerous thing. So he like kind of is committed to getting through this thing, but in his core is like at odds with that. Hey, thanks for the follow.
And then it's always just very moving, like when it's kind of revealed his motives for even wanting to do all that, and just like genuinely how much of just a meek but like empathetic guy this is, and how obvious it is that this is so tough for him.
Yeah.
And just how hard of a time he's having.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just such a good...
No, it's yeah, I mean, the 70s, 70s is one of my favorite. I mean, that was actually, for a while, the 70s was my favorite film era, and now I've gone even further back, and I really love the 50s and 40s a lot, too. And, I mean, I've gone further back since then, but I still have a real soft spot for the 70s, and especially those, like, New York movies, like Dog Day Afternoon, or Serpico.
I've not gotten around to Serpico.
Serpico is fun. It is. I
remember someone trying to put me on, like, really trying to recommend it to me, like, a while ago, and I just never, I just haven't got around to it yet. I mean, I love I just really like Sidney Lumet in general.
Yes.
So considering it's just, like, another Sidney Lumet Pacino movie, like, I gotta.
Right.
It's just stayed on my list. There's so many of those.
I mean, it's also really fun because then you'll get the one It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia episode where Charlie is acting like Serpico, and that'll be really funny, as well as the part in Rushmore where they do the Serpico play. So those things get funny when you watch it. It is very long, but like it also, he's a real guy, the actual Serpico, and the actual Serpico is really cool. He's a legit dude.
Is it a cop or something? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, so he's a cop, and he was a cop. He quit the force, but before he did that, he exposed rampant corruption, just like horrible corruption throughout the police department. And
was it New York? Was it NYPD?
It is NYPD. I believe.
Checks out.
And Al Pacino tells a story in like a biography or an interview or something with him, where he spent time with Serpico, and like he has now like a cabin upstate where he like is and he like just enjoys his life like quietly in nature or whatever, and he goes to stay with him, and he's like, so why did you do it though? Like why would you like go against everybody, make things, put a target on your back, make things so difficult for yourself? And Serpico said, well, I guess the reason I did it is because if I didn't, who would I be when I listened to a piece of music again after that, if I like didn't do something? There was like something like that. I might be mangling his quote, but there was like something so beautiful about it, and you could see like Pacino like really wanting to honor that in the performance. I'm mangling that story. I believe it's on the Wikipedia, and it's like one of my favorite stories about that movie. Anyway, Serpico's a great movie.
For sure. Once I get around to it, because you said so much gets funnier with Serpico. Then when I get around to it.
I mean, but I love that era of Al Pacino. I watched a Norman Jewison movie from around then called And Justice for All.
Oh yes, And Justice for All.
Where he plays a Baltimore, what do you call it? Public defender, basically.
Yeah.
It's really, and it was kind of more of a mixed bag, but everything
out of order, dude.
Yeah. I was that was pretty good though. I mean, I really love a legal drama. If it's like even halfway decent,
it's been so long since I watched that one. I've only watched it once, and it must have been like 5 or 6 years ago. But I do remember really enjoying it.
Yeah. And well, it's just also funny that he gets this reputation for, like, you know, the sort of scent of a woman, like Pacino, of like, hoo-ah, like yelling, and he's got a great ass, you know, like that type of thing going on. When, like, well, like Godfather, you know, especially like the first Godfather and things like, and Dog Day Afternoon and things like that, like he can play very small very well. But it is fun to watch him go big. I love his Jimmy Hoffa so much in The Irishman.
Oh, I loved The Irishman. Adore that movie. Yeah, I think that's like why. I mean, because I do love, like, I would say The Godfather is like my second like favorite. Just Michael Corleone.
Never heard of it.
Yeah. I know. Talk about The Godfather on a movie show, like Jesus Christ.
Well, that's what this show's about. Is we want to talk about movies that there's no debate. The debate's over.
Yeah.
These are good movies. We're not like, and The Godfather is like one of the goodest. Nobody's gonna say The Godfather's not good.
And the video game's really good too.
Okay, sure.
The old PS2 game. It's like an RPG. It's legit like a GTA style like RPG where you are like a self-insert character in just the plot of the movie. You're just
How has
another
somebody
guy.
not played this? Somebody needs
I
someone...
streamed it ages
Okay.
ago, but it is so good. Actually, but what's funny is that everybody kind of agreed to let their likeness be in the video game except for Al Pacino. So Michael is just like some guy. Like he just looks like a random new guy.
Completely different.
Yeah, which is like really jarring. And I don't know. And I feel like just because it was like early 2000s, maybe Al Pacino was just like, I don't know what that is, and like said no.
I mean, his career was still really hot at that time. Maybe he's like, I don't want people thinking like,
yeah, he's just like,
did
I don't know what
something
these
for
video
this or
games
something.
are.
I'm
Like, I
doing
don't
the
know what
devil's
these fucking-
advocate and stuff.
Yeah, and it also could have just been maybe the way they sold the game or described the game, because you do like have your custom character and you know kind of get rackets, you have accumulate territory and have businesses that you protect for money, and you do shoot and kill people. So maybe he heard that and he thought, oh, this video game's nasty.
Yeah.
For an old guy in the early 2000s.
They should make other old Francis Ford Coppola movies into video games. Like they should do The Conversation, the game.
I would kill for, this isn't old, but I would kill for a Megalopolis video game.
Oh, yes.
Now, bringing up Megalopolis on the Good Movie Chat about it, I liked it, but I don't know about you.
I mean, I enjoyed my time watching it, so what else can you say about that? And I say, I'm glad he got it out of his system.
Yes.
He needed to purge that thing and put it out there, so good for you, Francis.
If you could say you put it out, I love that movie. It's so just thematically bad and wrong, and it's so stupid, and it's so unsubtle, and everything about it is made bad, and I love it.
I love Unsubtle. Unsubtle is some of my favorite shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, like John Woo, I was recently watched Mission Impossible 2, which is not a great Mission Impossible movie, but it's a pretty fun John Woo movie. And I got so mad watching the Go Off Kings last week when Jesse Farrar, former guest of this show, said former guest never again for saying
never again.
I'm just kidding. I'd love to have JF back. But he was listing about all the things he hated about, because he's a Mission Impossible 3 partisan, whatever, and he was rewatched Mission Impossible 2 and was talking shit about all the things he didn't like, and he actually listed among the things he didn't like the doves. I was like, excuse me? You watch a John Woo movie and you're like, I hate these doves? What?
I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say I've never seen it, and I'm not a Mission Impossible head.
Have you never seen a John Woo movie?
I've seen a John Woo movie.
Like Face Off? Or
Yeah.
There's doves in that too.
Also
he always has doves.
What you're saying with the... Oh, is that a recurring thing?
Yeah, he like oh my god, like everything Hard Target, like his Hong Kong stuff. Like I know that there's
I haven't seen any of his Hong Kong movies at all.
And you know what? They're getting re-releases. They're getting re-releases from Shout Factory, high quality restorations of like the Chow Yun Fat movies. God, I'm blanking on their names. Somebody in chat tell me the movies I'm thinking of. Hard Boiled is like the best one. Have you ever seen Hard Boiled with Tony Leung?
No.
That is.
Very.
That has the most insane.
Except for Face Off.
The most insane action sequence ever. There's like a whole long, elaborate shootout sequence in a NICU. There are babies being passed around. Oh, it is at least like 10 minutes. This thing, they're like passing. They're like dangling babies out of windows and like to like make rescue missions away from this. Like it is totally crazy. It's like straight up. And you know what? It's actually a million times better than the part of the fucking Flash movie where he's catching all the babies in midair. You know the sequence I'm talking about? From the Flash.
Oh where he's falling in slow motion and he's
Yeah.
catching the baby and he puts it in the microwave to save it.
Oh right, yes, he puts the baby in the microwave. Yes.
Because they're falling and he puts the baby in the microwave. And no, but he also heats himself up some food because he's like losing energy. I think he heats himself up a burrito.
Yeah, he needs to eat. God, never mind. Okay,
Like,
we're talking about good movies. Good movies.
I know.
So before we start talking about After Hours, the last thing I'll ask is, where are you looking to? Because you are quite an adventurous film person. You like to kind of dabble all around, and you like, right? Mm-hmm. Where are you looking to explore next in your movie journeys? Like what genres, what eras, or what is coming to the cinemas soon that you're looking forward to? What's in your cinema future?
In terms of things coming soon that I'm looking forward to, I could not tell you off the top of my head. I have not really seen anything, maybe or at least heard of, that's being released soon that is kind of like intriguing me, because like with going through Tea and Sympathy, like I'm really trying to go through 50s like pre and even during like Code movies, 40s, 50s. Those are always, I have just so many on my list that I've just never gotten around to. And I mean, it is purely just like, I don't know, from an almost like vain visual standpoint of just wanting to watch movies in Technicolor. Because I'm like,
so good, dude.
Pretty. It's so good, and it's also
I will
just
like inflate like the movie, the Marilyn Monroe movie Niagara. It's like fine, but I like inflate how much I like it just because it looks beautiful, because it's in Technicolor and it's like Niagara Falls.
Yeah, and even like Tea and Sympathy, like it's also just because, you know, those movies are so theatrical. It's like I am like an actor, like outside of
Same.
Doing Twitch. Nice! Outside of doing like Twitch and stuff. And so it's like I've spent a lot of time kind of thinking about how people are on camera and how they are, and I spend so much time just thinking about people's performances that I really enjoy old Hollywood, because it's like it's so theatrical and I can really see what they're doing. And I liked how just innovative so many, especially like lighting. Speaking of Tea and Sympathy, there was something very small that I loved. There was like a scene where Deborah Kerr and like her husband, they're like having an argument, and after it all sort of like settles down, she's like alone in the room, and she's kind of standing a little bit behind the bed, and as she bends down, there is a spotlight off to the corner that then turns on and like illuminates her face. And like even just like little things like that.
Yeah.
It's like that's what I'm trying to absorb more just in my brain.
Right.
That I'm trying to make notes of just for myself, like as an actor, trying to be aware of how I am on camera. Like these are things that I gotta learn, and those are like the perfect movies I feel to like see what they're doing and how they're thinking.
Yeah, I actually, so a few years ago, I became severely movie pilled when in 2022 I made the goal for myself to watch 500 movies in a year, and I did do it. And I actually acted in a few things as well, a couple things that year as well, on stage here in the DC area, and I found that from watching all those movies, like my acting skills, without even thinking about it, really, just like I felt like they were like 10 levels up or something, just from
That's
like
way better.
it's just
That's
like
exactly
you don't even have to
where
think
I am,
about it,
too.
just like watching it, just like. And I try to watch good shit now. Like now I only try to watch shit that's really, really good, that I like, the things that like something about it really excites me, either director or actor or something. And yeah, and so and it's, I don't know. Then when Gene Hackman died, I was really sad, because he was that was my alpha and omega. That was like the blueprint for me. I was like, that's who I want to be. Is that guy right there?
I have a very bad blueprint.
Who's that?
Ugh, man. I mean, it's from when I was like a teenager, so like a lot of his movies also just haven't aged super well. Kevin Spacey was like my bread and butter. Like that's how I want to act. And that did not age well.
Hey, he's coming back.
And
He got honored at
was
Cannes.
Heartbroken that he ended
got
up being
honored
evil.
at Cannes just a couple weeks ago. He's coming back,
God.
baby.
Yeah, but I was
Sharon
like,
Stone says, "Bring him,
fucking
welcome
kidding
him
me.
back." Liam Neeson,
And,
all these people signed a thing saying, "Well, we have to let him act
No.
again."
Nuts. Fucking nuts. But, like, I've even just, like, I think there was, like, a scene that I saw from, like, a shitty movie that he did not too long ago, and his acting is just so much worse.
Mm-hmm.
Which is funny to see, that he's just, like...
Oh yeah.
I mean, then also I was
Yeah,
like,
I saw
man,
him in, like, he
you
did
can't do
something.
much without a good script, yeah.
He did something like last year or something where he appeared in some like one scene thing, and yeah, I remember seeing the clip of it and being like, "What the fuck?" Because like, yeah, he was a good actor. Like, I mean, I would say that he kind of was a really good actor, and
I thought he
that's
was
how
really good, yeah.
that's how he was able to fucking fuck around with people probably a lot too, because he used his powers for evil in addition to, you know.
Because people were like, oh, but you're good at this, so, you know. But,
Well, and also,
I mean,
like, he was really close with the Clintons, like really close with Bill Clinton and stuff. Like, he was really close.
He kind of just...
There's a lot.
He kind of just got it laid out for him to be a pest.
Yeah, it was...
And he fucking...
He was in those circles.
He took that opportunity by the balls.
Yeah, anyway, well, people that talk about this end up dead, so maybe we should stop. Anyway.
I was gonna say, though, real quick, as we're, like, talking about case-based, again, terrible thing to say, I don't know if you have rewatched American Beauty in recent. You should.
I don't want to.
No, I honestly think it's because it's aged like absolute milk.
Oh yeah.
It was like still when it came out, not that great, but like when that was like one of the first movies for me when I was like 12 years old. That I was like, is this cinema?
Yeah, same.
And it's like, I'm 12. Yes, I think everybody kind of had that.
Well, yeah, and I remember then, like, 6 Feet Under, it was, like, from the writer of American Beauty, and it's Alan Ball or whatever, and then he, like, got a whole career off of that. He got to make True Blood because, you know, he put the rose petals on Mina Suvari or whatever.
Yeah, and, like... It's just it's an interesting thing to rewatch.
Yeah, no, it's
so because it's also just like American Beauty and Lester Burnham as a character just created like a very insufferable generation of a certain type of young man that think he's funny and epic and awesome, and all of the humor does not work. It's like the least fucking funny movie ever if you watch it back. It is such a weird time capsule.
It's also
and
that
I watched
like
it back with my Discord server, and it was insane.
It's that like 90s brand of progressivism too, where it's like there is gay. We talk about gay people existing in this movie, so it's very progressive. But it's like actually like really fucked, like all that shit.
Yeah, it's like, oh, is the gay guy? Oh, so the gay guy fucking kills him?
Yeah.
It's like, and also just the whole the you know the progressivism of it also just being that like, what if we didn't listen to our boss, told everybody to fuck off, and did what we wanted? It's like, shut up. Like, shut up. Like, that's just the whole thing. And just the shit with like the whatever his name is, kid who's the drug dealer, and he's got like the
most beautiful thing I've ever seen with the bag.
God, it's so dull. It's so dull. It's so
good.
funny to watch.
No, I well, and the other thing that drives me crazy about that, and I have when I've thought most about American Beauty recently is because, I think that was 1999 year too, which is famously one of like the best.
That was like when I was born.
One of the best years for
so that's
film.
why I was all very just like, this came out the year I was born.
And what bothers me is some of the other nominees in that category include Russell Crowe in The Insider, and The Insider is one of my favorite movies, and Richard Farnsworth in The Straight Story, which, if you've ever seen The Straight Story, he's heartbreaking and also was like very much dying. So if he had won, it would have been a very nice thing. But instead they gave it to Kevin Spacey.
They gave it to K-Space, which now is a worthless award to have given out.
Did he already have... Because did he win for Usual Suspects as well for supporting actor?
Yes, supporting, I think.
So he already had one, too. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Which makes you think, why was K-Space on such a tour
And-
with the Academy?
And Usual
it's fair,
Suspects
I mean.
has not aged as bad, even though Bryan Singer's involved and he sucks too.
The only thing that's aged really, really bad is Bryan Singer and Stephen Baldwin. Stephen
Yeah.
Baldwin.
Well, Stephen Baldwin's
physically
funny,
and
but because like his
literally
character's
spiritually
such an
so
idiot
funny.
in it, so it's funny.
Stephen Baldwin's such a goofy guy. I'm like, that's okay. So also something about me. I know this is a good movie chat about, and I'm just
Absolutely.
like talking about bad things I love, but like, you know, I love so many things that are bad that it like, you know, talk about Megalopolis. It's just like, it's more so just like not being able to take your eyes off a car crash, like the
Right.
typical. Like, I'm very fascinated by things that like just really, really don't work. But
Well, and with
Alec Baldwin,
Megalopolis-
the guy I'm obsessed with.
Wait, what? Sorry, what?
I said Alec Baldwin, I'm obsessed with. As
Oh
a
yeah,
guy.
yeah. I
Just-
mean, oh yeah. Well, you watched the show on your stream.
I watched the
Ooh,
Baldwins.
the
It's
Baldwins.
a doozy.
I mean,
It
I've been
is
fascinated
a
by
doozy.
Ilaria.
Ilaria.
My and the just decades of Alec Baldwin talking about, well, I have a Latino wife. Well, my wife is Latina. My fiance, my girlfriend, my wife, going on talk shows. She's Latina, so she gets mad. She'd be like, Alec, what you doing, papi? Like he was like
It's so
doing
funny
this
because
on like
she's
Conan
like-
O'Brien and shit.
Because also she's pretending, she's not
Yes.
even pretending to be like Mexican or anything.
No.
Like he's making her seem like she is just like so different than him. She's pretending to be Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
So she would be like white anyway.
Right.
And
Yes,
he's like,
which I am
"Oh,
part
is
Spanish. My
absurd."
grandmother is Spanish, and this is
Yeah.
how I look. And like that's my mom is like even more Spanish, and she's also just as pale. Like that's
it's like
that's Spanish.
she'd be from Europe.
Yeah,
You know? And also, yeah, she's not even, her name's Hillary, she's from
Right.
Boston.
Hillary.
Yeah.
Yes.
Love.
And she
Love.
spent like a semester in Spain, and then started talking with an accent and going
It
by
just like
Hilaria.
did that.
Anyway, we love them. But Alec Baldwin's fascinating. Actually, I watched yesterday we'll eventually talk about After Hours. I watched Wes Anderson did a thing for Vanity Fair. It's an hour-long video on YouTube where he talks about each one of his movies. And
Okay.
and he talked about how he in Royal Tenenbaums, like he had gone
Yes.
to some event at like the 92nd Street Y or whatever the fuck, like, you know, to do a like some book reading or some like or whatever, and Alec Baldwin was doing the reading, and that was like and this was years before Royal Tenenbaums, and Wes Anderson's like sitting there, he's like, oh my god, like hearing him like read the story aloud, and that's when he got the idea to have Alec Baldwin be the narrator, and his voice is amazing. He has
No,
the
he
best
like he
speaking
does.
voice.
That's like why I'm so fascinated by him
Mhm.
too. Like he is like very like he has a lot of like, the only way I can say it is like juice on
Mhm.
camera. Like he
Yeah.
really does carry like just such swagger when he's like on screen, and like the way he talks, that it's like, that's why it's so fascinating that he is just such a strange
He just seems like
antisocial guy in real life.
a very insecure guy, kind of like as a
Yes.
person, like in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's fantastic, and like also, I mean, Glenn Ross is
Sure,
like
of course.
the one of
Of
him,
course.
and he's just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I mean
In that
he's
movie.
done lots of stuff where he's great. I mean I'm a 30 Rock before bed every day kind of guy, so of course.
Yeah.
love that
Are you
as
a
well.
30 Rock sleeper? Is that a thing?
I don't fall asleep. I mean,
Rock?
I put it on until I start getting sleepy. It's either
I'm
that
sure
or
you've heard of
classic
that,
Simpsons.
though, right? The sleepers for the Futurama sleepers is like the big one.
Oh wow, is that like a subreddit?
Yeah, it's a whole subreddit that has like quite a lot of people, but it's there's a ton of people
Oh,
that
Frasier sleepers.
watch Futurama to fall asleep.
I could be
Is
a
there
Frasier
one for
sleeper.
Frasier,
I don't know.
too?
Somebody just said that in chat. But I
Frasier
could be a
sleepers?
Frasier. I love Frasier as well. Frasier's amazing.
I don't know what I would be if I had a, I can't fall asleep with something playing. Maybe a Detroiters sleeper would be like mine. That's my favorite.
There's
like,
not enough
sitcom.
of them.
But it's not long enough to be a sleeper
Yeah,
too.
I
Yeah.
know. I will just start the series and then I'll try to
it's
space it
fun.
out, and I'll just finish it in the week.
Yeah.
Okay. After Hours.
Yes.
Okay, let's get into this. The first note I have is Tropic of Cancer. Talk about Nick Weiger fucking an apple. Do you listen to Doughboys?
No, but my boyfriend is a huge Doughboys fan, and I have some mutual acquaintances with the Doughboys, so what is this?
Well, this is every year at the John Gabers does his like Power Hour show or something on the day before Thanksgiving in LA, and Nick Weiger, who's a local LA boy, will always be one of the people that guests on it. And he so this was the context. I don't know if you know this about Nick Weiger, and I'm sorry to be the one to tell you this if you don't, but Nick Weiger can suck his own dick. And this was also revealed in this same context at the end of the Power Hour. He was really drunk. And then, like, the next year, it was like, how's he going to top that? And he said, oh, one time in high school, I fucked an apple, and it exploded when I came. I think is how he said it.
Exploded when he came?
I think people in chat back me up that you've heard this story, Nick Weiger. Because
goes in chat, he could probably back that up. I know he's a chatter who I know likes Doughboys.
It apparently happens in, I believe, Tropic of Cancer. Maybe it was Tropic of Capricorn, but I think it was Tropic of Cancer. And so that's why I always, like, every time I watch this movie and he's reading Tropic of Cancer in the diner, I'm like, oh,
you're just thinking,
Nick Weiger.
About that specific thing.
Sorry, that was a really stupid way to start this.
That's a good anecdote.
Let me contextualize.
That got me riled up. Also, no, but the apple's not gonna fucking explode when you come into it. It's not like.
Well, no, I don't think it was the force of the cum. I think he was like
crushed it.
I think he was just like the way he was handling it. It just like sort of fell apart more so.
Well, yeah, because you're not supposed to put a fucking dick in there, are you? Yeah, the apple's gonna fall apart.
Well, Henry James says you can in Tropic of Cancer. The context for this movie, of where this movie comes from in Marty's filmography, and all that, and just what he was going through as a filmmaker and in his personal life is very interesting at this time, because the movie that came out before this is The King of Comedy, which is incredible. I mean, I love The King of Comedy. I believe it's my second favorite Scorsese on my rankings. But was a huge bomb at the time, and critically and everything. Hated it. It took a while for people to be like, why do people hate this movie? It fucking rocks. Mm-hmm. So he was in a low point in his career. But his big passion project that he'd been wanting to make for as long as he'd been wanting to make films, The Last Temptation of Christ, where he got the rights for it, he spent like 2 years or something getting everything together, doing all the research, getting Michael Ballhaus, who is the DP on this, and we're going to talk a lot about him. And they like do all the prep and everything, and then like a week before they're supposed to start shooting, a movie theater chain says, no, we boycott this movie. We're not going to distribute it. All the money comes out of the project. The whole thing falls apart, like right at the last second. It's like 1983 or 84 or something. Maybe like late 83. So Scorsese's like, well, shit. He's like got nowhere to go and like nothing to do. And he's gotten this reputation now of going over budget all the time. And not only did The King of Comedy not do well, but also New York, New York was a huge bomb, also really over budget, and those sorts of things. You know, Raging Bull comes between those, and that's a huge triumph. But like he's risky, right? So and then especially when Last Temptation of Christ falls apart, it's like, well, everybody's kind of really afraid of Marty, and so Marty now is like, okay, I need to show that I can make a movie quick and like keep it tight and like just like and just a really focused, controlled sort of movie. And it's like, and it's just such a different change of pace in such a cool way, and it really is like a cool turning point in his filmography, I feel. Slow Puke, I read your review, so I already know. Did you like the movie?
Oh, I really liked it, yes. And especially as you've said, just like such a change of pace. Like, I mean, Marty, like, it's not abnormal for him to be very quick. And I'm almost wondering, it's just because I've now, I haven't seen really, because most Marty I've seen is like post 90s era. I'm like wondering if that's like been picked up from here, because this is like just such a snappy movie, especially compared to like The King of Comedy that came out right before, which is really just like it's like just a very aching movie, like in a good way. Obviously,
well, it's like claustrophobic. It's like 5 characters that it's like going between, and it's like all about this guy. Like, yeah.
And I wouldn't say slow in a negative way, but just like because like he's so uncomfortable, like Rupert Pipkin, he's so uncomfortable to just like watch him unravel and just like
But he has the like
of all this.
the total
It's like such a complete 180 change of pace.
yeah, and he has like the total confidence at the same time that you're watching like, oh my god. And it's like that is such a disconcerting thing. And that's why it's De Niro's best performance, I think. Like I love
Oh
King of
yeah,
Comedy.
it's for sure my favorite De Niro performance. And yeah, compared to like After Hours, well, obviously 2 very different movies, but just so close and right after one another. It's like, yeah, just such a different approach and drive into. I mean, also like, Paul. I mean, again, complete opposite characters, but it's almost interesting that the change of pace, with how just like quick and snappy this movie is. Paul is somebody that you're just like, you just want him to stop fucking up. You feel for him. You feel a little bad for him. I did, at least. I felt so bad for him. Other than when he was just like fumbling all of these beautiful women. It wasn't his fault though.
I mean, he has no risk.
He seemed to be getting, wound up with just.
He wasn't in his best headspace.
People.
So like.
Yeah, and he's so tired throughout the whole thing. That it's
he's just
like,
a fish out of water, just completely. And I think that was a lot of what drew Scorsese to this script and to wanting to do this project is, at least on the director's commentary. Well, it was a commentary with a bit of everybody, but on the commentary, he had said that he had recently moved to, at this point, so it was early 80s, to Tribeca. And he didn't really get it because it was like lots of artists and stuff like then too. And that's the other really interesting thing about this movie as a time capsule, right? Because the whole movie, like the sort of nightmare like prison that he finds himself in, is in Soho, in New York, which is of course like all of New York, especially all of Manhattan, completely gentrified and like. Yeah. How
with an
much
office job,
and how much real character is there between these neighborhoods anyway, especially on Manhattan, like now compared to when there are all these artists and stuff. And the producer, one of the producers, I forget her name, Amy something, and she's the producing partner of Griffin Dunn, who in addition to starring in the movie, and it's his birthday, we found out today.
Happy birthday, Griffin Dunn. We actually just found out.
Unless somebody was lying in your chat.
That would be very sad, considering we've just taken time to say happy birthday.
If it's not,
and a very crazy lie to say.
Happy birthday when it comes to Griffin Dunn. But in addition to starring in the movie, he's also one of the producers. And he was first on this project as a producer, and then at one point was just like, I think I'm playing this part, but I want to. And he just kind of at a certain point was like, to Marty, was like, hey, so, for Paul, could I, and he's like, oh, yeah, you're gonna be him. Yeah. It's like, but he, needed to have that confirmation, moment. But Scorsese was, like, I think that a lot of that anxiety that he had about, like, not feeling, like, he is such a, like, down to work, like, very much, like, give me the plan of action or whatever, and he's not necessarily, like, somebody that's comfortable just, or at least, not in the early 80s, just hanging out with artists. And so I feel like he put a lot of that into this movie.
Yeah, and just like he's so wildly uncomfortable around the sculptor,
Right.
He's just so uncomfortable being in that. Linda
Fiorentino.
Brilliant. In this movie, like so brilliant.
Fanning myself.
Funny and also very gorgeous and sexy.
But she's like not doing anything.
I did find her so funny. Like I found.
Yeah, but she's not doing anything to like try to be funny. No. It's just like her persona and watching it bump up against Paul and him just like stammering and like not
makes
even
like,
knowing what to
obviously
do.
the script is so funny, and she just does such a good job of letting the words do their thing and just, you know, exist as this very bizarre person that
Right.
you're just like, you know, and make her feel so real as well. But you know, another thing of just like a discomfort around, you know, the sort of art that, you know, you don't understand or you feel like you don't belong in. The scene when he goes to Club Berlin after he's been invited back,
Yes.
and he's bombarded by the punk people, specifically the punk subculture versus this like yuppie guy, and they're gonna forcefully give him a mohawk. Is, I mean, at least watching it in this year is a very funny thing that, like, yeah, this is yuppies nightmare, like forcefully being given a mohawk by a bunch of punks.
Yeah.
And that's the idea that he has, and these people are like, and that's like how uncomfortable he is, you know.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm glad you brought up the yuppie factor, because that's totally it. And I think that it's interesting that, you know, in this movie, the like weirdo artists counterculture definitely win this battle, but we know that the yuppies are gonna win the war ultimately. But
you know, eventually. But in terms of,
but again, like as this time capsule piece, right? Like this is like real New York. Like this was when we talk about like the gritty New York, and this is even like the 80s. Like we're getting to Ed Koch, and like stuff's getting a little bit better than it was in the 70s.
Yeah.
There's a really great Criterion collection that they did. Was it last month or 2 months ago? I forget what they called it, but the idea of it was that New York during the like when it was in really, really bad straits in the late 60s and into the 70s.
Yeah, in the 70s.
They just were like no money, like and crime was just ridiculous, and it was just a hellhole. To try to stimulate the economy, they did very generous film subsidies so that people would film in New York. But what got filmed in New York was a bunch of crime movies that took advantage of what a fucking gritty hellhole it was. So it kind of
and also like I get all, you know, what's, you know, been so present in New York is the cop culture too,
right?
And the sort of
cop
almost
movies.
Cultural institution, you know, that is the NYPD, and you know what they are almost as a character in American culture.
Yeah, shout out Cosmo Cat. Taking of Pelham 123 is also one of my favorites. Have you seen that one?
No.
Put that high on your list.
Okay.
Walter Matthau and Taking of Pelham 123. He has one of the best final looks in a movie. Like the final shot, he's given a look, and he's amazing. We love Walter Matthau in this house. Taking of Pelham 123 is
a lot of people have
so much fun.
I follow have seen this and really love it. So yeah.
So much fun. And the Tony Scott remake is okay. It's okay. Apologies to Denzel. Oh, and that one does have an
John Travolta.
Insane-o-mo John Travolta too. He is doing a really stupid like character, which is always fun. But yeah, so that's sort of also the same kind of context as this. And like one thing I love is that there's 2 times that cops come up, like when he tries to jump the turnstile and he immediately backs down when the cop shows up and he's like, I don't know why I did that. I've never done that before.
I don't even want it. That's not even my truth. Like, I don't know. Like,
he's like, don't even worry about it.
I'm just gonna go.
I'm just
and scampering up I love the little the physicality of Paul, not to digress too much, but like
I'm
just the
away.
physicality of how he like scampers and how stiff he, like even in like the first half when he runs, he's so stiff. Like when he goes up the stairs, like his arms are kind of like to his side, I believe, and he like just scampers
like
up.
Even when he leaves Terry Garr's apartment and then she opens the door to give him the ceramic bagel again, and he's like, get that out of here, and he like does like a stiff arm like really fast, like it's silly. He's like so wound up, he's like,
it's like he's never moved before in his life. Which is a very good detail at the character. It's like, because he's so out of his comfort zone, and he has never done this. Like, I'm sure he has never had to run. He seems like that guy when you first meet him at the beginning of the movie.
Well, I think that it's sort of so. Typically, okay, on this show we generally we talk about, and we already have, like any point in the movie. We don't have to go chronological. I don't like to take time to do that, but I do think it's interesting in this movie. Like the beginning, he has the scene with Bronson Pinchot, who is like the young intern or whatever, who's just starting, and he's like, I'm gonna get out of here. I have dreams. I want to create a magazine or whatever.
Yeah.
And and he's just like drifting off, like at work, just like hearing classical music as he sees like people do like
what is he looking? What is he
hole
staring
punching
at?
and shit, and he's like,
documents.
and he just seems like zen in that movie. He's like, this is my life. Like I feel like at peace with where I'm at, kind of thing. And then he has a sort of meet cute, and it's like, maybe I'll have an adventure. You know, maybe I'll try to meet a girl.
Because she's a beautiful girl who likes the books. She's a beautiful girl who likes the books he does, which is so just like all with who he is. Yuppie is quite shallow, that he's very clearly thinking, this is a chick who reads. You know, like, she likes books. So he's like, totally it.
And she has very much, she's kind of an early model for like a manic pixie dream girl in a way of like, there's something quirky about her. You want to know more. She's a mystery. She's intriguing or whatever. Like, there's something going on with her. Like at first there's something going on with her, and then later on it's like there's something going on with her.
Oh, there's too much going on with her actually.
I'm backing away slowly.
Yeah, but even how she like invites him to her apartment, which is like, you know, the sculptor's apartment. It's like there's no even direct introduction.
You want to come get
there's like
ceramic bagel?
Yeah, you should come get a Paris of plaster bagel and cream cheese paperweight from my roommate, who is a sculptor. Here's her name. Here are these very convoluted instructions on how to find the apartment and buzz in. He's so intrigued by her. Yeah,
it's like an adventure. And another, so what I love though is how the movie signals that we are not going to be like, it starts off very grounded kind of in the and then there's this little moment where the cashier is practicing ballet, and I kind of love that because he's like, what's this guy's deal? And it's like, dude, you live in fucking New York City, man. Like, get over it. This guy's practicing his ballet. Let him live.
And he's like he's like doing so. He could not be more obviously dancing if he like had a shirt that said like, I like to boogie and listen to music. Like he's like doing this.
Yeah.
And he's like almost as if he's like dancing with somebody practicing a waltz, and it's like
he's like doing his like positions or whatever. And then when he goes to pay for the whatever, his coffee or whatever, he like does a full pirouette. He's like,
I think is it with the pen? He's like, can I use your pen?
Oh yeah, it's asking for the pen so that he can get the number correct. Yeah. And I love that as just like a quick little like omen or something of just like, and it's like, you think that's weird, man? Get ready for the rest of your fucking night, because then what really sort of is the perfect like falling down the rabbit hole, like now we're launching into this fantastical wild journey, is the cab ride, and then the cab ride that's so wild and maniacal that his $20 bill that he has just puts loosely in the fucking like
a little
cab door
thing.
And so it blows out the window, and you see it like dancing like out the window, and you're like, oh, okay, this guy is kind of going to be on an odyssey, sort of. You get it right away.
Yeah. And like how he's like, even though the cab driver is just like, you know, breaking every like traffic law there is, he can barely speak up. He's just like, he's still just kind of like, I think
at one point he's like, oh good, going pretty fast, huh? Or something. He like says something
like,
like,
money. He's like, my money flew out the window.
Yeah.
Like says that, and then he does not say anything else.
Yeah, and
he just kind of thinks about his money and like tries looking out the window.
And then when he gets there, he's like helpless, right? He's like, I just don't have the money. I don't know. And then the cab driver just drives away really, really angrily. Actually, you know what? I think this is a good time to do this now. Slowpuke, I worked on something. I made a
little game.
A little tier maker game here. So this is all the background characters of the movie. This is background and tertiary characters. So the only ones not included here, and we'll talk more about them. But let's get these background characters first. But so we don't have, Rosanna Arquette, Linda Fiorentino, Terry Garr, Catherine O'Hara, Verna Bloom, or John Hurd. Those are like the supporting characters. We'll talk more about that.
Yes.
These are the tertiary background characters, and we start with Bronson Pinchot, who I just have in the Different Strokes promo image. So
who is, as we said,
the like intern
coworker
in the
at
beginning, the dreamer, who's he's better than this job. What do we think he is? I think he might be a solid B or something. I don't know.
I was thinking B too. I think B. I mean, I liked his little role, and kind of how he almost in a way foreshadows just like the rest of the film. But
yeah,
I'm still feeling B.
Yeah, I think B's right. Well, now, and so this is what reminded me, is because now the next two are the ballerina and the cab driver. I really like the ballerina. I don't know.
I do too. I would think A tier.
I think
honestly,
so.
not high enough to S, because I know a couple that'll be S.
Right, and then the cab driver is B as well, maybe. I mean, he's a very important and he comes back.
I was gonna say, but I'm like, I don't know if we're working chronologically.
No, you're right, because when he comes back and he gets his 20, and that is such a funny moment too. And then he also delivers Catherine O'Hara, who's here to ruin his life. She's the one that's most going to ruin his fucking life.
Yes.
So yeah, and he drops her off. She opens the door directly into his nuts, kind of she hits him with the door, and then he sees that it's the same cab driver, and he's so excited because he took the $20 off of the statue or whatever that Kiki was doing. He's like, "Hey, look, I got it again." He's like, "Oh, great!" Takes it, drives off,
and then drives off. He's like, "See how it?" He's like, "I know you see how it feels," or says something like that. And then he bangs him, and then his arm starts bleeding or whatever.
Yeah, and and his arm's been bleeding now because she opened that anyway. And then that's when he meets Catherine O'Hara. This guy is the diner worker from the first time they go to the diner.
Catches the kiss.
Yeah, and he catches the kiss, and also it's the guy that I believe plays the dad in the Gremlins movies. And he's the diner. I believe it's the same guy. I think he's fine. I mean, B or C.
I'd say C tier maybe.
Yeah.
I kind of like his little part, but he really doesn't really.
Okay.
It's a great little gag, but he's all right. Yeah.
Here is where I might be going S. Is the subway guy.
Oh yes.
He's
so funny.
This scene is to me
it's so good.
The subway fare changed at midnight.
It
is less than an hour past midnight at this point. It is supposed to be just a little bit past midnight. and so it's because it is after hours, it's at night, it's late. he's fucked. He doesn't have enough cash to use the subway. And just this bridge troll kind of characters. No,
he's got my favorite,
this far and no further.
Got my favorite joke in the whole movie, and I'm sure you're gonna say it.
What's this?
I'm sure you're getting to it. It's when he's saying so for chat and for people listening in the future, if you don't know the scene, as we just said, the subway fare goes up, and Paul is begging to be on the subway. He's like,
I have 96 cents, oh please.
It's kind of the first glimpse we see of Paul getting a little crazy, getting a little kind of losing his composure a bit.
Well, because he's now at this point I'm getting out of Dodge. I need to get out of here. He
needs to get home.
Right. He's I'm officially freaked out. I'm officially done. I want to go home. And it's immediate. Nope.
And the subway worker, he's like, no, because the fares just went up. And he's like, can you, and nobody else is in the, and Paul says, please, can you just let me up? And then the worker responds, no, I could lose my job. And then Paul says, well, how would anybody ever even know that you let me on? And then he responds, I could go to a party. I could get drunk. Right. And I could tell somebody.
Thank you, Deppy Slide, for the follow.
Like he's accident, like literally as if he considers it like he's admitting to a crime.
I mean, that's the
It's
way. I
so-
mean,
that got a huge laugh out of me.
I have a job where I like sometimes know things, and you know, I live in fear that I will get drunk and say something at a party. Whoever knows.
I get drunk, man, I could let it slip. So good.
The couple that is dancing at John Hurd's bar.
Oh.
I think they might also be C, maybe.
C, yeah.
Or even D. I mean, like, they're fine. I don't want to. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
honestly,
just dancing.
Let's go D because I think they were
D for dancing.
obviously interesting. D for dance. They were definitely interesting, but like
They're like set
they
dressing.
didn't really provoke that much from me.
Yeah.
They weren't too eccentric for my
Yeah, it's
liking.
really about Terry Garr and John Hurd in that scene, which I love both of their characters so much, and we'll get to them. Okay, this has Catherine O'Hara in it, but it's really these guys here. The I call them the Gabers.
I was gonna say the
Tom's
guys.
Gabers, yeah.
Love. I would honestly go S tier.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I think so
I don't know,
because
would you feel they're so good.
he has like the multiple interactions. Oh, all of the women are S tier. Like Terry Garr, like the people that actually have roles, I believe, across the board are S tier in this movie.
Oh,
all the
everybody's
acting is
fantastic.
so good. Will Patton as Horst.
Honestly, this is another one that I'd say S or
I was gonna put Horst in S always. I mean,
This is
look
so
at him.
He's just this like the sculptor's boyfriend who is this comically like just clad, you know, he doesn't have an accent, but he's clearly supposed to have this like literally Berlin aesthetic to him because they go to this club called Club
Berlin. Yeah, and they do look like they're trying to be Berlin people. Yeah,
how he mogs, how he just aura farms and puts Paul in his place and just so stoically is like, you need to go in there.
Well, that's the thing.
That wasn't nice what you did.
Is like Horst and John Hurd as I believe Tom is the character's name. These are guys that are like they are in their element. And John Hurd is especially such a dude. Like he's such just a standard bro. Like he could be fine in the middle of the Midwest or whatever, but he's also fine in the middle of all these like weird artists like and gay people and stuff. Like he's like whatever.
Yeah.
And he's just totally unbothered. And I think it is a great contrast to Paul, who is just so everything makes him so anxious. And then you
like
have
he really is
guys like Horst and Tom who are like, what's wrong with you? Just why can't you act right?
Yeah, like these guys that he is just so uncomfortable around that he feels so minuscule to. They're just like, hey man, you're weird.
Yeah. Also
mean.
These gay guys at the bar, the leather biker guys that are like making out. Which was apparently like the ratings board did try to be like take that out. And Marty was like, no. He was like, no,
this is important. It's honestly so important that there's a lot of queer people.
Yeah.
Especially these kind of like smaller roles, and that is so needed to just show like New York at the time. And just like the culture
and they aren't like butt of jokes as a lesser filmmaker might have done at this time.
No, it's just there's gay people.
Paul is uncomfortable with them a lot of the time, and that's funny. But like that's a reflection of his character. Like these are a part of the neighborhood. Like they are vital. They are the neighborhood in a real way. I remember one of the producers who lived in the neighborhood said that she lived in Soho for many years, and she said for years there wasn't even a bar besides Nellie's, which I took was the gay bar. Like they didn't like the gays were there first kind of thing. So I do love these leather daddies, and when they say because this is when Tom finds out that Rosanna Arquette, who we didn't know is his girlfriend, and he finds out that she's killed herself, and he's distraught, and Paul says, "I'm so sorry," and they said, "What can you?" Oh, he's like, "I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say." And they go, "What can you say? After all, it wasn't your fault."
It wasn't your fault.
But it was, baby.
And it was 100%
I wouldn't say it's 100% his fault.
Not
She was not
100%,
in a good way.
because she was fucked. Yeah,
Yeah,
not 100%.
he was not prepared for what he was in for with Rosanna. But I think they are at least A. Maybe they're also... I think they're A.
I think they're A tier.
As opposed to the Gabers who are like on a hunt the whole time. Like they have a mission. They're really
yeah.
active
They honestly feel like more support. Like even though they are like tertiary characters, they do feel like they're in that middle of like tertiary and then like being like supporting.
Right.
They have quite a bit of time.
Yeah, they have that fun little scene, but like the Gabers are like throughout. Okay, then there's this other diner worker who's meaner, and he's the one that makes him like order food, and like then he's like, I have to go feed the meter. Yeah, I think D for him as well.
D. Like he like pushes out like the homeless guy, and then he comes right back in, and then he pushes him out again.
Right. Yeah, he's not a good. I'm not really that distraught that he doesn't get paid for his burger and Coke or whatever.
No.
Now this guy is at least A. This is the bouncer for Berlin, and he does one of my favorite kind gestures where he lets Paul keep a quarter when he tries to bribe. First he says, "Pay me something so that you can at least say that you tried to bribe me," and he's like, "All I have is this change." And he's like, "Keep a quarter."
I'm 97
But now you can say you've done it. Now you can say you tried to pay.
He's like,
your
"No,
way
I don't
in."
need the quarter, but at least you tried. Now you can say you tried."
Honestly,
I think A. Probably.
Yeah, A is good for him.
Yeah.
Okay, and now the punks shaving him into the mohawk.
Even though they're really like just not doing a ton other than that, I would say B tier.
That's fair.
I think they're like kind of in the middle because me personally, I was just like very compelled by like him kind of the forceful head shaving and the forceful like assimilation into a subculture that he was so scared and uncomfortable by. I think that was a very kind of poignant part of the movie to me.
I also
just,
think
like,
it's funny. It sort of recontextualizes the standoff he was having with the bouncer and why the bouncer was like, "You don't."
Are you sure you want to go in there?
Like the bouncer was like, "Are you sure?" Like, I don't know.
He was really trying to do him a favor. Like, this is not your bag.
He's like, if you go in, you know, like this is what he knew would
it's
happen.
Mohawk night. You need a mohawk.
Yeah, you need a mohawk. Okay, now this guy.
Oh, and who's this?
This is Marty.
That's Marty. He's
Marty
the
on the light.
guy in the club.
We're gonna put Marty S just because he's Marty. But that's Marty's cameo in Club Berlin as well. So Berlin has
he's
a
a spotlight guy, and he
guys.
keeps the spotlight on. He's trying to keep the spotlight on Paul as the punks are trying to get him to put it back in the chair.
Now this
the guy that got shot.
These are the murder. This is the woman murdering her husband.
I really liked this.
This was so funny. I mean, this is such a funny part. I mean, like, the whole movie to me... when I was researching some stuff earlier today, I came upon an old, like, r/movies or I don't know what. And the person, like, was getting ripped apart in the comments. So they weren't facing a lot of support, but they were like... The one scene with After Hours that really took me out and that I didn't like was Marcy's, Rosanna Arquette's character, Marcy's suicide. It's like, well, that's the movie.
The movie is.
I mean,
this girl
and
kills
it's
herself, and now he has to. Now Paul's.
It's like the classic cliche about comedy. And I think like Mel Brooks or other people would say is like, you know, tragedy is when you trip and sprain your ankle, and you know, comedy is when you like fall down a hole and set off an atomic bomb that like kills everybody or something. Like it's like as tragic and big and like awful as possible is funny. Like the more real and like awful it is, that makes it funnier. And
it's also just like how just like pretty much such a main trait of the primary cast of this movie is how everybody is at their just like emotional extreme. That's every character, whether it's, you know, the Kiki have finally said her name instead of just the sculpture, like that's the most she does. That's the most she talks.
Or like Catherine O'Hara like laughing hysterically at him.
Her
like,
laughing maniacally,
Yeah.
like getting such a kick out of just
She's
being
so
a
good
nuisance.
in this movie.
John, like the Tom freaking out, beating the shit out of the
Right.
cash register because it won't open. It's like that's just the whole consistent theme with the
Or like
characters.
Terry
It
Garr
is-
going from like being like a lovey old woman to being like, hey, what are you talking about? Like, you know, like getting really defensive like all of a sudden about like stuff.
and all of a sudden insanely clingy.
Right.
Like all of a sudden just like don't go anywhere.
Right.
You know, that's the point.
And so the murder that you see happen, like after all these people are chasing around for him and they're putting flyers up about him, and then he sees this murder, he says, I'll probably get blamed for that too, is really funny, because it's an actual murder. So I don't know, I think maybe A for this one. What do you think?
Yeah, A. And it's also just funny to see him just look over and freak the fuck out at this. It's also just like good. It's also, you know, the only other part, well, earlier in the movie when he's in...
I almost put these, I know what you're about to say, I almost put them on here too, but I would have just had to censor the whole thing.
Exactly, but earlier in the movie, yeah, he's like, he looks out the window and...
It's at
through a
Marcy's
very
apartment
small
when he's
window, he
waiting
sees
for
them
her,
having-
and she's like getting in the shower or whatever.
Yeah, and he watches them have sex.
And
then...
It's like, this is where... It's almost like, you know, again, the misdirect of like, okay, this is where this night's gonna go for me too. And then it's like, later on he sees a murder. It's like, that's sort of how the night's
like
going.
he's like, oh, I'm gonna fuck her. And then the next time he does it, he looks out the window, sees a glimpse of somebody else's life, and it's just the most horrific thing he's ever seen in his life, and he's now traumatized forever. Even more than he already is now. Because that's how his night is going now.
And his night is so bad that he's just like, his immediate thought is somehow that's going to be my fault. And then now we have this sad guy, this poor guy who thinks he's going to have his first gay experience. He's so nervous, and then he gets his heart broken because Paul's just wants to crash on his couch, and then Paul gives this amazing monologue where he just says everything that's happened to him that night. And my favorite,
even through that, he annoys the fuck out of him, and the guy's super bored and doesn't care.
And he's like,
he's
whatever.
Guy.
All I know is I'm not getting laid. And I love the part where he goes, the really casual way that he goes, what? She already killed herself. It was too late. Like he says it like this when he's like gets to that part of the story. He's like, I get there. She's already killed herself. It's too late.
Yeah, like he's just so like when he's responding to Paul on the couch, he's just like, he just has such an air of, what do you want me to do about any of this? And I feel like it's also just like the fact that it's like, you know, not to get too into like the themes, as we're just doing like a tier list, like the sexuality theme that is so huge with Paul meeting up with these women. And then the one time he meets up with a man, even though it's not his intention, again, he is just like emasculated. And this guy is making him look like a fool, making him feel like a fool. You know, that's why I just really like that specific kind of, you know,
I also
hookup
think,
scene, apart from the other ones,
this is the second time that police are ever mentioned. And it's actually when Paul
he calls the cops. Yeah,
this is when he calls the cops. And I find it interesting that it happens like right as Paul realizes sort of what's happened here, like why this guy, like what's actually going on. That like I think that's when he's finally connected the dots of like what this guy thinks is going on. And he's like, I gotta use the phone, and that's when he calls the police. I don't think he's calling the police like to be, because this is an era, right, of like, you know, there's a gay guy, I'm gonna call the cops because he's gonna hit on me or something, like gay panic type of thing. But that's not it. I mean, he's calling just to be like, there's a mob hunting me. Like, this is when he first, and then they just don't believe him and hang up on him, and he goes, oh, yeah,
because he sounds paranoid.
Yes, he sounds insane.
Crazy. Even just because he cannot, you know, it's so late into the night at this point, like, he cannot properly articulate. I mean, what he's saying is so true, but he even just can't properly articulate. He's hysterical.
Right.
He can't convey at all what's actually happening or what's led up to it, because this is also a crazy thing to...
Yeah. I'm going to put him... At least
A's good.
I think A's good. And then I think this guy who's just a bartender at the end in Berlin.
Maybe it's
C. because
Yeah.
he's solid. He's fine. He's, I think, right
Yeah,
there
that
with the
was
diner
fine.
guy. I think that's perfect. Okay, great.
He kind of tried to help out Paul a bit.
But you'll see here, most S and A. Like, I think that
Yeah.
bears out. I think that's right. That feels right.
No, like the small characters are very iconic.
Right. Well, it's
in
like
this
sort of
movie. I
counter,
really had such a joy with them.
like the opposite of King of Comedy, like you were saying, which like is like so focused in on Rupert Pupkin, and like he's like they're like a handful of people that he comes in contact with, like Jerry Lewis and his like assistant or whatever, and then Sandra Bernhard and like his like that's like it. But this is just constant being thrust into different situations, and it's you don't and it really gets to the point where like, where is this guy gonna end up next in a very fun way.
In this odyssey that he goes
it
on, this
is
labyrinthine journey.
It is absolutely an odyssey. Let's talk about these ladies. Let's talk about Patricia Arquette. I mean, no, Rosanna Arquette. Sorry, not Patricia. The way you remember is she's the one that has a Toto song written about her.
Rosanna.
That's about Rosanna Arquette. 100%.
Really?
Yeah. It is
Wow.
absolutely. The singer was dating Rosanna Arquette. that's the story behind it.
So he wrote Rosanna.
So he wrote Rosanna, and then they didn't stay together. Yeah, so there's something really funny. I'm not funny. The whole thing with scars in the beginning, where first Linda Fiorentino Kiki says, you know, no scars or something when he's giving her the very sensual massage. And you kind of see Paul like see it. And so I watched this movie 3 times this week, so I really like honed in on this detail of then when he's in the room with her and he's looking up her skirt or whatever, and he sees what he thinks are like scars in her thigh.
It's like 3 scratches he almost thinks he sees,
Right.
I believe. Right? Yeah.
Right. And then later, when she's out of the room, he looks through her bag and she's got a book on burns. Burn victims. And like he's looking, he's going, oh God, oh, and he's like so exaggerated.
Which is also when he's giving the massage to Kiki Bridges, Linda Fiorentino, he mentions that he was in the hospital as a child,
right?
Correct. And he
was
had
in
to
the
be put
burn
in
ward.
The burn ward.
And he doesn't finish the story.
He doesn't finish, but he says when he opened. So, how does the story go again? I don't remember completely. But
it's like he
got tonsils. He was getting his tonsils out.
But they didn't have room for him, and they had to put him in the burn ward, as he tells it. And so they told him that they wrapped his eyes around as a part of the surgery, and that he needed to keep his eyes bandaged, or else it would ruin his tonsil surgery. Because they didn't want him to see the burn victims, basically.
Yeah, they didn't want him to see the burn victims because he would scream because he was a little kid. Yes. So he's also traumatized.
He has that trauma, yeah.
Yeah, even though he likely did not see them, we don't know if he did or didn't see them. It's either he clued in and didn't take them off and was still just traumatized by that experience, because then it would mean that when he opened that book, that could have been the first time he's ever looked at burn victims. Or he did see them and he's now reliving that again. Right.
And I think that's when she comes back and he's like, can we smoke some pot? That's when he has the smoke pot. And this is the note I wrote. She has really bad pot, so she deserves to die. She deserves to die for her bad pot.
Fucking hates that she has
she has some
bad pot.
fucking swag.
Did you? Yeah, she's smoking like straight doo-doo weed.
Right.
Like
way below mids.
Bush.
Like they wish they could be mids. Yeah.
Bush cheeks. Did you also get from this, very genuinely, like from this movie, do you think Marty was like smoking a lot of weed at the time?
Marty was definitely doing a lot of this, I believe, at the time. He was definitely on the slopes.
Also, just Cheech and Chong being in the movie.
Well, because here's the other thing that we need to talk about Michael Ballhaus, which first of all, great name. And are you familiar with the work of Rainer Werner Fassbinder? Or you know the name? So he was a big
don't even know the name.
German filmmaker in the 70s and 80s. He made movies like Ali, Fear Eats the Soul, and Quarrel, and the Murder of Maria von Braun, or whatever. I'm messing up some of those titles. But he made like 20 movies in like 9 years, and then he died of a cocaine overdose, basically. Like,
right. That checks out.
He is like...
That's why he could make 20 movies in 9 years.
I had a clip in the opening song from Martin Scorsese from The Last Waltz of Van Morrison really sweaty and kicking across the stage, because to me it's that, and then it's Rainer Werner Fassbender. Those are the fat cokehead gods right there, those two guys. And Sam Kinison, I guess, someone like that. Oh, and like, never mind, there's lots of them. John Belushi, Chris Farley, the list keeps going.
I feel like a lot of directors, especially like in the 80s, were basically just that. I think everybody...
Well, in The Last Waltz, have you seen The Last Waltz, by the way, Scorsese?
No, I haven't, but I know of it.
Yeah, there actually is a whole thing with The Last Waltz where there's big music stars in it. Bob Dylan's in it, Joni Mitchell, Van Morrison, and then Neil Young is a big part of it. And they actually had to do like post-production, like VFX work, basically, to cover up the coke stain on his nose, because his record company was freaking out with how completely visible all the coke was on. They were all really coked up in them. So, I mean, I don't know how actively Marty was doing cocaine at this moment, but he's definitely spent some time with the straw. But the last thing I'll say about Rosanna Arquette that I really love in her performance is how this date is so good at being like borderline. It's like constantly borderline, like, should I go? No, they'll stay. Like, how long it can sustain that, like, that balance of, like, maybe I should go, but maybe I should stay. Like, how
but she's also super hot, and she's,
maybe she's
really
just quirky.
She's like, maybe we'll get around to talking about books eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll hook up eventually.
Yeah, and she's talking about the story of her ex-husband and Surrender Dorothy and all that. The stories are so great. But then Paul is very mean to her, and he says mean things, and he leaves. And
he tricked her to leave by insisting that he really wants, the plaster of Paris cream cheese bagels. That he want paperweights that he did want.
Well, it's like he's like, this weed sucks, and he just immediately becomes like the hugest asshole. It's like he's so mad about the weed being bad that he's like, I never got my plaster of Paris. Shit. He's like starts freaking out.
And he calls her a liar. That's the one thing, is she's like, he's like, this weed sucks. It's not even weed. And she's like, oh, the guy who sold it to me said it was. I just bought it. And he's like, well, he's a liar, and so are you. And it's like, oh.
But then, there are sort of the things where it's like something else is going on with this woman. And then, like when you think about it, you do find out later she does have a boyfriend, I guess. Like she's with John Hurt as well the whole time, too. And it's like he's not even someone that you hear about, like, around her too. So she's kind of like Laura Palmer-esque in like all the relationships that she has that you find out after she's died.
And the diner guy, there's also something hinted with the guy in the diner, because he's like, it's on the house.
Yeah, she kind of seems to have formed a relationship like with everyone.
Yes.
In a way. Okay, and I want to talk about Terry Garr as well, because she's so wonderful in this movie. I mean, like, now we're at the point where he's firmly stuck. He doesn't know what to do, and then he's coming upon these characters, and this is, like, the first woman who, like, gloms onto him, and she's just, like, a total woman out of time. Like, she's stuck in the late 60s completely.
Yeah.
And it's really
Beehive.
funny. Yeah.
And everything.
And also, I said
monkeys.
A level 10 clinger, I also wrote in my notes. Like,
she's so clingy.
Yeah. And she does... So, Paul goes to her place after finding Marcy dead or whatever. She finds him on the street because she's like, I quit my job and come over. And he's like, and then that's when he finally like breaks down crying about like, I saw this woman and she's dead and I found her. And I really love, she gets up while the story's like really sad. And Last Train to Clarksville by the Monkees has been playing, and she gets up and she changes it to Joni Mitchell, which is very nice to get the mood right on the music.
Really to like give him a soundtrack.
Yeah.
Because like, I mean, you just know also she goes back to her apartment and she just has with her, you know, time
she does her
capsule
drawings and
yeah,
she
her
like
sketches.
looks like a 60s apartment completely. I think she's the weirdest on paper, is what I would say, of all of them, and but ultimately, I think she was Paul's best option. He should have just hung out with her for the rest of the night.
Absolutely, like because she was, I mean, he could have just like he was like that. She's definitely the most tolerable person. He could have just crashed
And most willing to tolerate him.
So willing to tolerate him because she was obsessed with him. Like from the first moment.
Well, like she like treats it like he told her to quit her job or something. Like he encouraged her, and he was just kind of like, I don't know what your deal is. He was like avoiding her.
Because the first time, the first time he meets her, she writes like, "I hate this job."
Yeah, on the check.
And then he's like, "I finally quit," and he's like, "Cool."
He's like, "Okay."
Like, all right.
Yeah, and I do love when she's talking about how she's like really bad at math but then she talks about how she has to
8%'s a bitch.
8% is a bitch, actually. That's tough head math. That's not like,
That's tough.
that's
8%.
like 10% or 5% or something you can
Like honestly, like 20%, like we got it kind of like we're kind of like we got it good right now with just needing 20%. Like with having to figure that out. That's a much better.
Well,
I'm so sorry that I keep getting up, by the way. I'm so sorry. My cats are just going,
That's
like,
all fine.
wanting to go in and out of my room, so I have headphones on.
No, it's all good. I know the cat life completely. I just want to make sure we talk about all these ladies because we've been going long because there's so much to get into. An interesting thing I learned from the commentary is that Terry Garr, prior to her film career, actually was like a go-go dancer, and she danced backup on the Sonny and Cher show and stuff. So
wow, yeah,
when she's like
super, like
dancing and stuff, like she was really channeling.
Doing, like, a little, like,
hey, Jakey Chains.
Yeah.
She
doing,
was
like, a little like pumping.
Yeah, she was having a lot of fun. You could tell, like, getting to revisit this sort of time. I mean, I love Terry Garr and everything. And when she recently passed away, I watched this. I think might have been the last time I watched this movie, was because this was what I thought of her in this. And then when she gets scorned and she becomes like, you see her putting up the flyers, like she's the flyer person, trying to get rid of Paul.
Yeah, like I mean, that's like her and Catherine O'Hara, who we'll talk about.
Well, we can talk about. I was going to get on to Catherine O'Hara now.
To ruin his life.
Yeah. Yes. Well, and Catherine O'Hara is just pure chaos demon from the get-go. Like,
love her also. I mean,
yes.
Got to.
And this was
Canadian,
like very early,
City,
and this might have been actually her first film role, even because like she had really just done SCTV before this.
Yeah, this is like early like American role for her for sure, because I mean Beetlejuice was the next one, and what was that like? When was that? That wasn't that long after,
87
right?
or something, I'm gonna say. So
yeah,
years.
So very like this might have been her for sure first, like, or maybe like one of the first American actions she did.
Oh, that's funny, Jake. You pointing out that when he's giving the monologue to the guy at the end, it's shot like in front of a brick wall and almost looks like a stand-up set. It's funny to think about.
That is a good detail.
That is a funny way to think about it. But like, so she's the proudest ice cream woman ever, Catherine O'Hara, and
it's not boring. It's not boring. It's actually very good, and it's not boring.
Yeah, no, I believe her too. I have a feeling that she would be like the type of person nowadays that would love like modern prank YouTube content, like the way that's like she does these like the fucking with him when he's trying to remember the phone number and she just starts saying random numbers.
and then she does it again. I mean, like,
And the way that he's like,
genuinely...
I've actually forgotten it. He's like so mad.
I am not even kidding, and like I love the women in this. Like I love the women characters in this movie. She is like the one that because of that I was like, girl, I hate you. Like that is so unbelievably annoying.
And then she's just laughing hysterically,
And
which is also
she's so like
I think like the most injurious to Paul is when she just laughs at him and she's just hysterically finding him funny, and he's like, what's funny? And that's when he like really like snaps. He's like, nothing funny.
Yeah, no, she's the absolute last straw, and I mean there's that's for sure the reason why she is just so abrasive. And like even for the viewer, like while you kind of sympathize, all of the women in the have issues, but you do like sympathize with, and
oh yeah,
at least for me, like I just found them campy and silly and fun. Well, she was the only character that I was like, oh,
well, it's like
you're annoying, aren't
when
you?
this element gets added,
Which
and then
I
when
love.
she makes the decision to turn on Paul because she sees the flyer and she like grabs it. She's like, that's when this like element, like everything just gets dialed up so much, because once she decides she's against Paul, like it's all
she's
over.
like, I'm gonna get a mob.
Oh, I also love that she would also become a real true crime girly, I feel like, because of the way that she reacts to the story on his arm, which is also a funny detail of him having like
She's just like keeps reading it, and she's like so into it, and he's freaking out, like as if that's because he thinks that's gonna happen to him, and like almost I was like, dude, is that gonna happen? Like when the mob starts ramping up, I was legit like, are they actually about to rip him limb from like, the snippet that was on his arm?
Yeah, no, I don't know. And then she's like gonna burn it off, and he's like, no, don't burn it off.
Yeah.
And then it just like it's a really fun sequence. And then he gets this like invitation back to Club Berlin, and it's like this another otherworldly kind of
night, I think.
Yeah, it's like conceptual, like a performance, or I forget how they say it, which is funny because he's been there earlier in the night, but now it's like you have to have it's invitation only. You have to have the invitation, so he goes and he like has it. That was apparently a reference to a specific movie. I forget now. I can't remember which one it was in right now. When he's like coming with the thing, and then when he goes back to Berlin, it's deserted. Yeah, Marty, here, Jakey, because you just joined, I'll show you real quick. We did do our tier list of all the background characters, and Marty with the spotlight is S tier. Marty with the, as well as Horst, the Gabers, and the subway fare guy are all S tier. Yeah. So yeah, and then that's where he meets. I also love Verna Bloom, the actress. I don't even know if her character, that she might have a name. I forget it.
Oh wait, what's
I only watched it 3 times this week.
Yeah, because wait, yeah. Which lady?
Verna Bloom in the end. That
Yes.
and she's like also a sculptor, and she does. And she lives in the basement of the Berlin. Like she lives under the club. June. And she's also a sculptor, which made me wonder because Kiki was also there. Like, is she Kiki's mentor or something? Like, is she in the same circle or something? Even?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just something curious. But that is a really, really cool. It like hits his last shot, and this is why I
loved that.
The bouncer letting him keep the quarter is because like you get the shot of him putting the quarter in the jukebox, and it's like the last ditch.
The last thing.
And it's like the ultimate, like that scene at like Last Call where like you just need someone to go home with, except now he like needs someone to like save him instead.
Yeah, like he's like putting everything, because he's also been told that like this woman June, she doesn't get much attention, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he's been told that she's
she's much older than him. I mean, much older.
Yeah.
She's like 20 years older than him.
And she's like alone in this bar, and I think the bartender says like, "Oh, she's just there," and you know, like people don't really like pay attention to her much. And that's when Paul, he flips on a switch to just like, I'm gonna try and seduce this. I need to do this now.
Mm-hmm.
I actually need to get this right now. And he puts literally everything into trying to, like,
whole
his last bit of
policy
money.
into it. Yeah.
And just, like, completely switches his personality, completely turns back on.
Right, and they have this very romantic and lovely dance. And I think that this scene is sort of, I mean, it wasn't what he was going for, but it comes across as the most sort of Lynchian kind of now, because it's this sort of, like, in-between space that's not really clear when and where it is, and there's dancing with old-timey music and, I don't know, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But then
and he says he just wants to live.
Yes, she says, why are you doing this? And he says, I just want to live.
I just want to live. He says it like 3 times, I think.
And like, then when the mob, well, like, they go to the basement and he sort of collapses on her in this, I had to say, an Oedipal embrace, really, like, because it is part, like, you're right, like, he's trying to pick her up, but there is a real, like, mommy help me, like, there's a real mommy energy I got from this.
And she definitely takes on that role herself,
for sure.
You know, it's like, it's not even just him pleading, it's like, even
she's like, rush your head on me, like, yeah, it's like very, like, she's taking care of him.
And then, I mean, as we're gonna say, what she does to him.
Well, and this is him, I guess. So his desperate measure. Well, this is what. So when the mob enters and they want to go check out the basement and search the basement, he's freaking out. So after his Oedipal embrace in the basement, he goes and he covers himself in the, like, sculpture room. He, like, pulls this cord and all this whatever cement or whatever, and I say it looks like mother's milk that descends on him, so that the,
like, plaster or whatever,
which allows her to then mummify him. Mommy. She.
You now have you saying mommy stream forever.
Great. Maybe it'll be a sound alert somebody will actually play on my stream. No, but, like, there is so she does put him into the statue. Oh my god. We forgot to talk about Cheech and Chong. Cheech and Chong are in this movie.
We brought them up earlier, but yes, Cheech and Chong are in this movie, and they are silly.
They're like cameos. Yeah, it really is like cameos, because they were very successful at this point. Like, they had made Up in Smoke and, like, a few movies. Like, they were well known.
And they would do these. They have this wet bandit sort of dynamic of these,
except the one time that they actually legitimately buy a statue is when he thinks that they're stealing it, Paul. Yeah. And so he takes it back from them, and then then Kiki looks down, she's all tied up. And so he's like, he still thinks that she's been robbed. And this is another time where it's like, things aren't what they seem. He goes up, and that's just the kinky play that Horst and Kiki were doing. Yeah.
Just having her tied up.
Just a fun
and he buys a TV too for like $100 or something, or $200. He
buys
a little
the TV, but the TV breaks when he accosts them.
He drops it. Yeah.
But anyway, and Cheech has a really funny line. He's like, "That was the first statue I ever bought," and so then they break in after everyone's like, "I'm just gonna go check and see if they left," and she goes upstairs. And then they break into her basement, and they're like, a statue, because she's put him into the statue now. He's encased in this statue, and there's a really funny moment.
He also can't talk.
Yes.
He also can't talk at this point. He can't say that, like, hey, I'm not a statue, because she insists that even after the mob has come in and looked around and they leave, she insists, like, no, you have to stay here because they might come back. And Paul is obviously, like, trying to, saying, please let me out. And so she puts over his mouth.
Oh,
and
right.
He's just,
I forgot she did that.
In this, like,
yes,
mummy, which is also the exact same statue as, like, Kiki was working on. Right.
A funny thing that was in the commentary was that Rick Ocasek from the Cars visited the set when they were filming the scene, and he was in the statue, and he had Griffin Dunne had a full conversation with Rick Ocasek from the Cars while he was in the statue.
Oh.
That's just a thing they said in the commentary that I thought was funny.
Yeah, I think being in that is also, like, that was also so claustrophobic.
Oh yeah, he was freaking out. Griffin Dunne was.
God.
Yeah, so they take him, and they're like, we're gonna get our statue finally, and then of course, put him in the back of the van. The van drives away. He falls out the back of the van, breaks open directly in front of his workplace.
And that was something that I'm sure you probably like maybe remember from my review that it's quite literally like he comes out of his shell. Quite like
Yes.
literally he is like
Like
just
he sheds his
born
skin
again.
or
He's like
something.
shed the skin. Yeah,
Yes.
it's like he's come out of a
When he's still
literal
caked
and
in all the
figurative shell.
gray and he looks a mess,
And he
but he
walks back in the
just
office,
sits
and
in his
something that
desk.
I loved was and I don't know if this is typically Paul, but he's the first person at the office that morning. He shows up to work, and he's the first person, and he sits down, and he just gets back to work. And with the camera work for the credits and the score that plays, it's like it's just like the first like breath of relief in the movie that he is like back where he belongs, really. Because he never needed to leave because he was so good at that job. He was literally teaching the guy at the beginning.
Yeah.
He was a good word processor.
Well,
And he
and
took a risk and it sucked.
another thing that's really fun in the sort of what's the word, book ending, I should say, is that yeah, he's the first one in the office. Like he's there when the gates open. In the beginning of the movie, when he's leaving the office, he's the last one as they're closing the gates. The gates are closing, and he's like, "Oh wait," and he like sneaks it through them. So it's like yeah, it's he's the last one to leave the office, and then he's like just so relieved
He's so giddy
to
to
be
like
back
be
in
there.
his safe space that
He was also being the last person to leave, so scared to be the last. Like he wanted to stay. That's why you would be the last person to leave willingly.
right.
Is because you want to stick around at work. You know.
Yeah, and so like the cheesy Disney Channel version of this movie, would be, oh, I stepped out and I took a risk and it was great. And this movie is like the opposite of that at every turn. It's like
Yeah,
and
it's nothing but a failure for him.
and I love that
His fail
because
self.
you have that anxiety of what if things go wrong, and it's fun to watch like the most things go wrong possible.
Yeah.
As a anxious person myself.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it is really like such a funny. I mean, there was like another movie that oh yeah, it's like Beau is Afraid, which is funny because you showed the I think it was a trailer at the beginning with Goodbye Stranger from
Right.
Beau is Afraid.
Yeah,
trailer.
and it was edited to be like Beau is Afraid
Beau is
specifically.
Afraid is another like just really good depiction of like anxiety to me
Sure.
because it really conveys that feeling of just like there's what is actually happening is so normal and such a like kind of non-issue, but it just feels like the world is falling apart, and I'm very anxious too, and I loved Beau is Afraid.
Yes.
And I was just laughing
Like the
for
first
most
hour
of
of it is so funny when it's just like
he goes outside and it's just
Yeah.
the worst place ever.
what's the worst
And it's
possible
like,
thing that could be happening at any moment, and it's like it happens
it's like-
somehow. Yeah.
Yes, like I just found that with that movie, I was like just laughing kind of at myself for so much of it. Because I was just like, oh my god, like this is how like this
Oh
is
my
how
God.
like almost stupid it looks
The part with
to like
the part
be
with Parker
this-
Posey. Oh my god, when they have sex, it's so funny. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's
so
good.
ridiculously gross.
That's one
and
that
funny.
That's one that I've been meaning to rewatch for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like a triptych of a movie, and my favorite segment, the second one with the
With Nathan
suburban
Lane.
family, and Nathan Lane is the father, who's brilliant,
And the
and the
drinks
daughter
paint.
who eats paint, and it's so good.
Yeah, and Amy Ryan and stuff. Yeah, that's a great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that is and it's funny. I've seen Martin Scorsese talk about how much he likes Ari Aster and that movie specifically.
Yeah.
Which I think it is. I mean, you could fit 2 After Hours in one. Beau is Afraid, but
It's such a long movie, but
I mean, I like a long movie sometimes too. But
No,
this was a
there's
short
a lot
one, and short ones are fun too. But this was not
Yeah.
a short episode of Good Movie Chat About. Because when we're talking about Scorsese and stuff, there's just too much.
so much to talk about.
Couple more things. Marty told Griffin Dunn not to have sex during the duration of the shooting. but he doesn't think Griffin actually did it.
Wait, sorry, you cut out a bit. Can you just repeat that?
Marty he told Griffin Dunn that he didn't think he should have sex during the duration of the shooting.
Oh.
That he should not, he should keep himself wound up. And, like, I don't know. And he says, I don't know if he actually did it, but I told him I didn't think he should do it. It did win Best Director at Cannes for Marty, and it won Best Picture and Best Director at the Independent Spirit Awards. It didn't do phenomenally at the box office. It did okay. It made its money back because it was so cheap. It did great video stores, rentals, and like HBO
critically.
or whatever, like on TV. And critically, it did do quite well. Compared to King of Comedy, except who didn't like After Hours was Pauline Kael, and Pauline Kael was a big defender of King of Comedy. So that's
interesting.
At least I think she was. Don't quote me on it. I don't know. All right. I could obviously talk about movies all night, but it is late, slow puke, and I really do appreciate your joining me here. Is there anything you'd like to plug, even though most of these viewers are here from your raid?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I stream over on twitch.tv/Slowpuke Live. It's Slowpuke Live is like the actual channel name. I don't really talk much movies except for when I just digress and talk about whatever, because I mostly play video games, and if you like I watch a lot of reality TV.
That's great.
That's another just thing for me. I love reality. You know, whenever you want to watch a documentary on here, whenever you want a documentary, you know who to hit up.
Oh my god, I'd love it. I mean, I'm looking to do more. Like, I'm doing more hangout streams, and I'm trying to find stuff that's good to watch on them. I've been experimenting with different stuff. So
yeah, like I mean, you know what I mean. Just like one of my favorite movies that like kind of encompasses just what I love is Grey Gardens. That's one of my.
I was in the musical version of that.
Really?
Yeah, I played Jackie
That's
Kennedy.
Who?
Jackie Kennedy.
Oh.
Yeah, I was like.
Yeah, I've heard there was a
10 years
musical.
ago.
I haven't seen the musical.
It's pretty good.
But I've heard.
The
and
movie
there's like
is
they even. Yeah, they made a movie of it too.
Oh yeah. That the Drew
like
Barrymore
after,
and
even
Jessica
apart
Lange.
from Grey Gardens, there's another movie. I forget who was in it.
Drew Barrymore and Jessica Lange, right? I think.
Yes.
And but the I actually am even of the opinion, and it might be a hot take, that I don't even love the Documentary Now episode about making fun of Grey Gardens, because I feel like Grey Gardens is funnier.
Oh, the Documentary Now episode? You cut out, but I assume you're talking Documentary Now. Yeah.
Because I think Grey Gardens is funnier and on
so
all the
funny.
things. Like everything, the references they're making, I'm like, well, the actual thing is
It's
much
also like very
funnier.
tragic. It's like
Right.
really tragic because it is just like a depiction of just like, you know, mental illness with like very wealthy people. But not to talk back about movies. We've talked about so many
I
movies.
know. Sorry. It's my fault.
But
too.
yes, okay. I stream at twitch.tv/Soappuke. I'll be live tomorrow. If
right.
you're not from my stream and you want to check it out, I'll be playing video games in the afternoon.
Absolutely.
Hitman.
So, and on this stream next week, Friday night, we're going to do Hanging Out. I don't know what we're going to be watching yet. I might pull some Siskel and Eberts, maybe. Maybe that's what we'll do. We'll see. That'll be Friday night. And I'll also do more Lego. This is going to get keyed out, actually. That's really funny. This is a Mario pipe. But it's green.
God! I just see it. It's like delayed. So I'm just seeing it now. Yeah, that's sick. That's good.
So it's going to be a piranha plant when it's done. So I do Lego while I watch.
You need to be
stuff.
getting more green things so you can do the gag of things being keyed out.
I do use a second camera that I won't use the key on, so you can actually see it.
Yeah.
And Saturday next week, Good Movie Chat About, back Saturday at 3 p.m. Guest Libby Watson, Libtron. And the movie is from, I believe, 1980 British film called The Long Good Friday with Bob Hoskins and Helen Mirren.
Oh, yes, I know of that one.
Very
Not seen
fun crime movie. Really fun watch. Great score. Great film. Bob Hoskins amazing. So I'm really excited to talk about that. And then next Sunday night at this time, I am premiering I've done this show called Sunday Night Scaries before, but it's for the first time Oh yeah, I forget Pierce Brosnan's in Longer Good Friday in a small role. I'm doing a show called Sunday Night Scaries. All I'll say, I will channel the dead, and we will have a fun time while I channel the dead. So, look forward to that. That'll be
Addams Family vibe.
That's exactly right. Karamia. So, thank you, everybody, for being with me tonight. Yeah, I guess until next time, you know.
And thanks for having me.
Have fun.
I've got a last word in.
Yeah, we will see y'all at the movies. And have a good one.
Take care, everybody. Thank you.